Arkin and I are now living in Kingston, both of us. I've been living in Kingston for 13 years and Arkin has just moved into the beautiful Royal Borough of Kingston. We're actually thinking of organising Surrey watch collectors meetups, and they're probably going to be happening in Kingston proper. So if you're living around Richmond, Kingston, and Twickenham, nearby towns, Surbiton, Tolworth, all these kind of areas, let us know in comments below whether you would be interested in coming to a Surrey watch meetup. Let us know either way. Comments, Instagram, email, drop us a WhatsApp, send a carrier pigeon. In the meetups, we'll definitely look to connect with you, make friends, and be happy horologists. Hi Happy Horologists, it's Jason Grant, and today I'm here with Arkin in the Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames. We decided to take a quick trip down here and test our new piece of equipment, which is Insta360 Ace Pro, equipped with a Leica lens that's going to enable us to shoot all sorts of high quality definition footage in 4K and even in 8K. So the first stop, we decided to take some double beef burgers, and Arkin has ordered a combo of chicken and beef because, of course, all this hard work of telling you about horological story of Kingston upon Thames takes a lot of energy. And first we're gonna top up our tanks. I've ordered a double cheeseburger with extra spicy sauce in it, so I'm about to tuck into this. It looks delicious. I'm super hungry. None of us have had anything to eat today. Let's go. As I expected, this is going to be messy. Lionel Messi. So today, in amongst other things, we have decided to visit our friend at Jessop's to talk about cameras, because even though we've got our video camera, we're actually looking to get yet another camera for stills to shoot specifically macro shots of watches, people's collections, and detailed views of things. So we're actually still trying to find out what the best camera for us is within our budgets, and to actually choose one and choose the right lens for it, the macro lens and maybe even super macro lens, because we want to have yeah.
We're gonna come.
We're still learning how to use all this stuff. So our friend at Jessop's told us he's going to give us a demo of a Sony camera with potentially a macro lens that is going to work for the watch photography. So let's see what he's going to show us. Cheers. We tried Jessop's. Jessop's is recommending Sony cameras, of course, and Sony seem to be producing something that is very high quality and relatively good value for money. Of course, we don't have unlimited budget, so we're gonna have to go with something that's maximum $2,000, but really even maximum $1,000, because we already shelled out quite a bit to our equipment. And Arkin, shall we do a little picture of what's on your wrist and what's on my wrist?
Today I'm wearing this homage of new release of the Tudor Black Bay Pro, which is opaline dial, which as you can see here.
So Arkin is wearing a Tudor homage, which is basically a San Martin, and I'm wearing a Tudor Black Bay Chrono, which is currently my grail and always my kind of lucky watch that I use to go to special events, places, and special moments to, in this case, bring you some of the highlights of the Royal Borough of Kingston upon Thames. Let's see what else there is in this beautiful borough. And we have absolutely marvelous day today. 0 clouds in the sky. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's do a shot with us above the camera. So point the camera up to the sky. Let's see, the other way around. Point it down to the floor and it will capture the sky. Down to the floor.
Oh.
this way. Yes, there you go. No clouds in the sky today. Absolutely incredible for UK standards. And if UK had as many days in the year, maybe, I don't know, 3-4 months of the year of weather like this, it would be absolutely the best country in the world to live in. Today it feels absolutely fantastic to be walking around. So the Goldsmiths boutique in Kingston is being refurbished at the moment, and we're really looking forward to how they redesign this boutique, which is one of the core boutiques that you come across as you come into the Bentals shopping centre, which is really the main focus shopping centre in Kingston Upon Thames. And so this boutique I've been into many times. It's part of the Watches of Switzerland group, and they're saying it's coming soon again. The 3 fish symbol that you see is the symbol of the Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames. We wanted to check out the TagHeuer boutique here in Kingston, which is very prominent actually in this road that many people pass by, but what we've discovered is that it's actually been closed down, and we can make postulations as to why this has happened, but not many people used to come to this TagHeuer boutique, and they were actually advertising many digital watches and things like that. So TagHeuer has not been really featured in other boutiques elsewhere. This was the main one, and actually the only, apart from Breitling, the only boutique that is brand specific. So it's obviously not done well, and they've decided to shut it down, which is sad to see, but we also understand. One of the central features in Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames is the market, food market, and Arkin and I have just had the burgers in one of the joints out there, but the food market is very beautiful, fresh fruit, cheese, and all sorts of different fruits, as we are here right now around 5 o'clock, even 6 o'clock actually. It's closing down slowly, but some of the marketeers are still here selling all sorts of produce that you can see here. It's always very vibrant around here, even though today is a weekday that we're here. It's not as vibrant as it typically happens to be on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, but the atmosphere is always very polite, calm. People are friendly, and nobody is ever gonna kind of do anything bad to you in Kingston. It's a very high-class borough in every single sense of the word, and just hanging around with family here, children, friends. Typically there is a guy that plays guitar here or violin. So this area of the market, along with this beautiful building there with I believe that's Queen Victoria in the golden statue, is very prominent. The actual Kingston Town Hall is over that way, and the symbolism of the 3 fish is present throughout everywhere. Kingston itself is a separate town in the Surrey county, and in principle it doesn't belong to London. It's a town upon itself and a borough upon itself, and it's in Zone 6 of Greater London, but negotiations are being had for it to be changed into either Zone 3 or Zone 4, which would bring it a lot more zones-wise and trouble-wise into the fold of the City of London, and a bit closer for those people who are otherwise travelling to Kingston from Zone 6. The tickets are a bit more expensive when you're travelling from Zone 6 as opposed to from Zone 4. So if it changes to Zone 4, a lot more people are going to be traveling both to Kingston as well as to London from Kingston, so two-way traffic. One thing I would like to show you, which is one of my favorite parts of Kingston town, and of course we have Kingston in Jamaica, so it's interesting that this place called Kingston in Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames is we have the Hogsmill River, and this is one of the rare chalk bed rivers. I believe there is 5 or 6 of them in UK. And what you can see as I kind of flash and flex my Tudor there, you can see some enormous chub down there, which probably weigh around 4 kilos. But you can also see some barbel there. So this is the place where Hogsmill River is actually merging into River Thames. So the Kingston Borough is on the River Thames, and it's very prominent for all sorts of kayaking and boat rides. So there's lots of people riding the boats and doing kind of activities on the River Thames. And the Hogsmill River merges with the River Thames over there, which we're going to go to next. So coming through this secret passage, we're actually seeing the continuation of the Hogsmill River, which is about to merge with Thames down there. And this is actually where Hogsmill River, which is otherwise about maybe even not half a meter deep, maybe at places it's a couple of meters deep, where it's kind of slowed down and created a bit of a mini lake. But here, I believe Hogsmill River is a couple of meters deep, and what you can see in there is giant carp. I've walked past here and I've seen carp, I kid you not, maybe 20-30 kilos in weight, or so they looked like. They're like small boats in the river. And this is the reason for this is, of course, Hogsmill River being a small river. It's a really kind of like it's not even river in many countries. You wouldn't even consider the river. It's more like a stream. But here, because it's already connected up to the River Thames, which is much bigger and much serious river, those carp come back up into the Hogsmill River, and they're, I think, preferring some of this kind of fresher water and maybe some of this chalk stream feel from the Hogsmill River. And it's usually, if you're into fishing and things like that, which is also a hobby related to all sorts of equipment, carbon, rods, reels, Daiwa, Shimano, all this kind of stuff, you are, as a carp fisherman, you're probably interested in coming to see some gigantic fish in this part, specifically between Hogsmill River and Thames River. And as we come up to this part, it's very romantic here. So if you ever come to Kingston, bring your girlfriend, boyfriend, family here to walk down the River Thames, because it's absolutely romantic. Even on a bad weather day, you know, people complain about UK weather. It can be quite miserable, you know, cloudy, a bit murky, rainy, windy, all that kind of stuff. But even in those kinds of weathers, it's really romantic around here. On a day like this, where you can't see a little cloud in the sky, it's beyond all imagination of romance. And of course, they then play romantic saxophone music. I believe this is a bit of a live saxophone performance from someone. Yes, we have a live saxophonist, of course, and it's just like, it does not get much better than this, you know. Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames, and the reflection of the sun over the River Thames with this kind of saxophone, and people just having drinks. And it's nearing up to the weekend, you know. Thursday, often the time, is seen as like Thursday's the new Friday. It's been like that for decades now in London. And you can also see the double-decker red buses, which are signatures. So even though Kingston is not in, you'll see all the signatures of London, like the London double-deckers. Many people actually live on the boats that you see here, so it's not unusual for all these boats that are moored to the moorings here. They're actually houses, and people live there, and many people have lived there for decades. living on a boat is not for me. But I believe there's also romantic aspects to it as well, because you're always closer to water, closer to nature. It's a lot more kind of real type feel. And of course, your house is not pitched to one place. Even though these boats are moored up to the side of the river, they actually very quickly and often and frequently unmoor themselves, if that's the word, untie their boats, and they go all the way up, if necessary, all the way up to Oxford, because Oxford also has River Thames, or all the way down to East London, and you can even exit down to the sea, I believe, from here on. So living on a boat, not for me, but it's an adventure for sure. And of course, when you're living on the boat, you have to take care of all these kind of things. The boats, just like watches, some watches in some cases, there's a lot of overhead in terms of servicing and upkeep, and having to paint the bottom of the boats for it to not rust away and rot away. And of course, you have to take care of your own toiletries, and they have special boats that come in and suck up the remainders of people going to the loo and all that kind of stuff. It's not a fun thing. It's not for me. Up a little bit higher up that way, because Thames is actually flowing from there down towards this way. So this way we're going down to East London, and up there is West London. So up higher you have some houses that have been built either very close to the River Thames, up in Twickenham, or they've actually been built on the River Thames. So some people are living on houses on the River Thames that are not boats. Now that is something that I can see myself living in, and it's very romantic, very creative, and I can imagine, us doing things like Happy Horologists podcast from those kind of houses, which is both romantic, interesting, creative, looks good, and we can do fishing. Now, in terms of fishing, River Thames is fantastically populated by all sorts of fish, but fishermen specifically come to the River Thames for pike. Pike is a very big catch here. I've tried to catch it many times, but I've not succeeded. So still to come. Maybe I need to get a Rolex in order to get a pike. Or, some people might even... Pike is a kind of fish that will take just about anything. So if you throw a watch into the river, as long as something blings around, the pike might go for it because it might mistake it for a fish. So maybe if I put a Rolex on the end of my rod and chuck it, the pike might take the Rolex. Land-Dweller. We're walking through the beautiful town of Kingston Upon Thames in the Royal Borough of Kingston Upon Thames. It's an absolutely magnificent day, and what is weird is that there's absolutely no wind today, which means that it is perfectly still, and Thames water, the surface of the Thames River, is perfectly still, very beautiful. It's acting like a mirror, shining and reflecting the sunlight right back into our faces, making us extremely happy horologists. From this Turk's Pier, you can take boat rides up towards Oxford or down towards East London. One of the other beautiful aspects of Kingston town is that throughout the town, especially in this central part, you have these beautiful murals which have been painted on these walls that are surrounding either car parks or some other less interesting, let's say even boring areas. So this little car park here, boring, but surrounded by beautiful murals, which actually also keep changing. So every time I go past here, there are different artworks and different presentations and different pictures that you can see, all of which become artworks upon themselves. They become pictures, they become snaps that you can take pictures of, and they're very photogenic for your Instagram, for hopefully our YouTube channel as well. And as we're learning, people walk around and they want to sort of mess up our recording, which is fair enough. Odd person here and there. very beautiful pictures. The muralists here, or the graffiti artists who are doing these, are very, very strong and talented artists. Some of the shading on these pictures has been done incredibly well. Especially from afar, these pictures look like absolute real hyper-realistic artworks. I wouldn't mind something like this on the dial of my watch. It's very beautiful, and I wonder if some of these artists have ever thought about being micro artists and micro painters of watch dials or configurators of watch dials. Another example of these murals that you can see is here, and some of them of course are graffitis of all sorts of kind of funky lettering, and we of course see this on watches these days, where sort of ruining a watch is a sort of mini trend, I suppose, in some areas, where people might take a Rolex and sort of graffiti the dial and have a special one-of-one graffitied up Rolex that looks kind of funky and cool. I'm not sure I would do that with a Rolex, but I would do that with a Hamilton, or I would do that with even maybe a Tudor. And we have in our watch collectors lounge, we have one member who has done that with his Tudor, and he's got actually hundreds of thousands of views on his Instagram and other people's Instagrams that are showing Tudor that's had sort of vandalized the dial that says not Rolex, and just a kind of happy watch to wear around and not have to sort of worry that you're going to get attacked for it. We wanted to shoot some content inside the Bentel Center, but we got actually stopped by the guards, who thought that we were recording for the BBC or CNN or who knows what, because as soon as we are out with this professional equipment, the microphone, the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, Leica camera equipped now, we're looking like professionals, because we're now becoming more and more professional. We're going to get better still cameras, we're going to get better at using our cameras and storytelling, but really as far as this kind of vlogging or on-the-go equipment is concerned now, including microphony as well as the cameras, we're now equipped for showing you our experiences, adventures and events in the highest possible quality with the highest possible sound. We're going to get better at telling the stories, but that's a kind of easier thing to do in some ways than getting the equipment. And of course, one of the aspects is to try and test out the action camera thing, even though it's not for watches. Come on, quick, let's go. I wonder what the action footage is going to be like. We're missing out on the latest release of TagHeuer. Oh no, the TagHeuer boutique is closed. Today, as we're walking through Kingston, we have a special exhibition of these magnificent, which other people who visited London might have seen displayed around London. And they are from artists, I believe, called Gilly and Mark. And my understanding is that Gilly and Mark were making these kind of bronze statues for a long time in their lives, and they were actually struggling. They left their work, they left their careers. Don't take me on the word here, this is what I remember hearing about them, but they basically committed fully to making these bronze art statues, which are actually in some cases magnificently huge. They are like, I kid you not, like 10 meters tall. But in Kingston, in the main road today, they have them exhibited throughout this main road, and I think these are inspired by the Alice in Wonderland movie, or the general kind of chase of the rabbits. So sculpture by Gilly and Mark 2023. And what happened to these artists is that they were struggling for years and years and years, and then suddenly they got found out by, I think, one of the museums or something like that, and suddenly they became incredibly popular and collected in museums and suddenly exhibited throughout the city of London. And now we're having the exhibition of their works, and many of their works throughout this main road through Kingston. And the works are beautiful in the sense that children and passers-by are allowed to touch them, interact with them, even sit on them. So I was actually talking to my family about turtles, and look at this, there is the Astrid, the turtle, and we can actually sort of sit and lean on them and interact with them. And of course turtles are incredible creatures that can live for hundreds of years, and they're basically the last remaining dinosaurs on Earth, which is also a correlate to watches, because we want the watches that can last for hundreds of years. Because we're increasingly living in the world of disposable, crappy digital goods that don't really last for a long time. And this is one of the reasons why we decided to buy better equipment, better camera, to shoot these stories and share them with you in as high quality as we possibly can, both in terms of audio and video, because we want these stories to last for a very long time, and we're trying to create memories and moments which are worth sharing. Not many people talk about Kingston town. It's a very beautiful place. I think it's a place that everyone should come and visit at least once if they're coming to London, in general Greater London. It's only about 20 minutes by train from the main London Waterloo station, which is central. So you see here we've got again Alice in Wonderland, big statue. This elephant itself is twice as tall as I am. So how these people managed to make these bronze statues is beyond me, but they're very soulful and eye-catching and very beautifully made, actually. And one thing is, because a lot of the stories that we tell are quite serendipitous, there's a lot of overlap in terms of what we're doing as happy horologists and what is happening around us. And mind is this kind of weird machine, quantum machine, that focuses in on those things that are most important to us. So of course, as Arkin and I, evolutions of monkeys of the times past, are looking for cameras, we came across this statue, which is two monkeys doing photography. So in some sense, we are two evolved monkeys doing photography and videoing around Kingston, but also looking for more cameras to buy, because it always seems like there is more equipment we need in order to bring you the absolute reality and detail of all these wonderful watches that we're wearing. And again, in the case of me, it's a Tudor Black Bay Chrono, which I absolutely love. Even though it's a little bit on the thicker side, it's suitable because it's a chrono and it's got that Breitling chrono movement. So I feel like I've got two in one with this one, really, because the Breitling chrono movement gives me the feel of Breitling, or owning, at least in part, some Breitling. And Tudor, the casing, the integrity of both bracelet and so on, is something that gives me the goodness of Tudor and feeling of Rolex. But people say to me, "Oh, look, you haven't taken the stickers off." And I'm the kind of guy who likes to look after my equipment. So even though I've had this watch for well over a year now, it's not got a single scratch or mark on it, because I really look after it, and I'll keep the stickers on it for as long as I possibly can, because I just like my stuff to be as new looking as possible for as long as possible. This is the kind of watch that I don't beat around. I have other beater watches in my collection which I use for cutting, chopping wood in the garden and all these kind of things, but this one I use for very special occasion. This for me is a very special occasion, bringing you these monkeys taking pictures, and us two monkeys, happy horologists, taking these pictures on a new camera for you from our beautiful town of Kingston. Another thing which for you other monkeys out there, we wanted to share with you is because Arkin and I are now living in Kingston, both of us. I've been living in Kingston for 13 years, and Arkin has just moved into the beautiful Royal Borough of Kingston. We're actually thinking of organizing Surrey watch collectors meetups, and they're probably going to be happening in Kingston proper. So if you're living around Richmond, Kingston, and Twickenham, nearby towns, Surbiton, Tolworth, all these kind of areas, let us know in comments below whether you would be interested in coming to a Surrey Watch Meetup. Let us know either way. Comments, Instagram, email, drop us a WhatsApp, send a carrier pigeon. In the meetups, we'll definitely look to connect with you, make friends, and be happy horologists.